Hello Visionary, welcome to a brand new series here on Instagram and on YouTube. This is Calibration Live. This is a month-long series that I am hosting here to calibrate you into your empowered, embodied, and wealthy brand identity and CEO identity so that you can be showing up more in your content, growing your visibility, staying consistent, and focused so you can build momentum to make sales this year. Today I want to calibrate you to feeling more embodied and secure in your identity, not just as a CEO and not just in your brand leadership, but both combined. Your brand vision, your wealth building goals, your CEO operations, all those facets of you can coexist, and they don't have to be separate from you. That embodied and expanded version of you does not just have to live on your vision board, in your journal. It could be something that you step into and embody right now, because your identity work, your identity capacity, your identity embodiment is, I think, actually one of the most important things beyond or before your strategy, because if you are lacking a spine in your brand leadership, in how you're building, in your messaging, in how you are scaling your business, you're going to question every strategy. You're going to constantly be pivoting and stagnating. And that's why I want to talk about today how I and you can stabilize your identity when everything feels uncertain. What I do and what you can do. So, by the way, I am cross-filming here for Instagram and YouTube, so I'm going to be looking back and forth. You can catch these replays on YouTube, and if you sign up for the Wealthy Visionary email newsletter list, all month long I'm going to send you a audio recap, and I am going to start recording right now before I forget. So hot tip, if you do your lives, cross-record on YouTube. Pull out your iPad or Zoom, get your voice memo notes out, cross-record it in your voice memo notes. Voice memo on an iPad or iPhone will transcribe an audio script, and then you can feed that into AI and have it create a summary for you. How fabulous is that? So you can be creating written documentation and recaps of your live lessons that way. Super savvy little hack there. So really quick, I wanted to reintroduce myself. If you are new here, hello, how are you? My name is Kate, not Kat, Visser, Kate Visser, and I have been an entrepreneur for over 10 years now. I need to recount in 2026, and 2026 is my 8th year as a business coach. So I help more multi-passionate, visionary, highly ambitious CEOs and creators. I work with entrepreneurs in many different fields, from service providers and coaches and creatives to digital product sellers, online educators, content creators, product brands, brick and mortar brands, people who have multiple businesses. But you are someone who wants a more personal brand on the personal branding spectrum. You are obsessed with all things content and marketing, and you want your content and your brand to do the heavy lifting for you. You do not want to be doing hands-on selling all day long. And you also want to have a business model that is scalable and sustainable. You want it to be savvy, but still profitable. And this comes in handy and is highly beneficial, my approach to helping multi-passionates take all their visionary ideas and multi-passions and turn them into a scalable business model. Take their personal brands and position them profitably. Take your expansive messaging and create a wealthy brand movement. Create messaging and content that sells for you. And I feel like it's very important for me to very specifically specify the direction we are headed in and the methods that I use, because I can help you sell high ticket, but I can also help you sell low ticket, mid ticket, make money from your content. The goal is to build a personal brand powerhouse. Build something that can hold all of your multi-passions, fuel your big vision, get you known, seen, heard, and then have a business model that can grow and expand with you, and know how to sell your offers, obviously, but sell and launch and scale everything in a way that allows you to still carry out your brand vision and still be yourself and have a life you enjoy. So we are all about having our cake and eating it too around here. That is my life motto. I like to find ways that I can have my cake and eat it too. I am a highly ambitious entrepreneur and certified ADHD baddie, but I also want to run things like a CEO. I want that delicious, creative, fun life, but I also want to make sure I'm making money. So that's the vibe around here. Let's talk a little bit about calibration. I feel like this is such an important topic right now, because there is a lot that the market and social media is demanding from us, right? To be up-leveling our content right now, to be leading our brands with more grounded self-leadership, and to find innovative ways to sell, figure out how our offers can be not only innovating with the market, but how we can be falling in love with them and feeling like we're all in on the innovations, on continuing on, right? Because like burnout is not just from working hard. We need to know that what we're putting our energy into is something that we love, something we can see ourselves growing with, right? And so I feel like this is a wonderful stage for us to talk about grounding and stabilizing your identity in uncertainty. Because a lot of you right now may be facing some uncertainty, in feelings and how the world is going. I think a lot of people are. Maybe you're feeling some feelings of uncertainty for the future of your business because there's a lot of market changes going on. There's a lot changing in social media, but failure is not an option for you, right? You're not gonna go, I'm struggling to boost my engagement on Instagram, guess everything is over. That's not you. No, you are an innovator, you are testing out strategies, you are investing, you are taking action. I am right there with you. By the way, I want to celebrate really quick. I just hit 1,700 followers on TikTok as the beginning of February here, so I'm very excited about that because I am innovating right along with you. I'm very excited that growth and engagement is now transferring back over to Instagram. So all of that result, me being able to do that is directly related to the identity work I've been doing and a lot of the work that I do inside Personal Brand Powerhouse, which is going to be relaunching in March. But through uncertainty that we may be feeling in our marketing, in the world, how you need to innovate, how are sales going to happen, how are you going to scale things, what's everybody else doing? When you have that feeling of instability, even if there's real things happening, it's so easy. It's so easy. If you are lacking self-trust and leadership, to let that fuck with your identity and to misalign your vision and for you to start doubting who you are, your desires, you start to shrink unconsciously. This can be an unconscious thing, and that's why we need to have this conversation. We need to recalibrate you. Imagine me just slapping you across the face right now. Putting a glass of cold water in your face. I am waking you up. Because, homegirl, what we are not going to do right now, what we are not going to do in uncertain times, is we are not going to go, woe's me. We are not going to self-victimize. We're not going to hide in a corner in isolation and lick our wounds and become obsessed with our sad stories. We know how to make space for our pain. We know how to make space for our trauma. But what we're not doing is setting up camp there. And that's what a lot of us unconsciously do in our identities, right? When things are uncertain, we destabilize our identity, right? When things fall apart, we fall apart. It's just like what our parents or our grandparents told us, right? That simple saying, cross is over. When things go wrong, don't go with them. Or don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, right? That's the exact same thing. When there is uncertainty happening, you are letting it crumble your identity. When you tried to launch that thing this year, or you had that visionary idea and you tried to launch it, and it didn't go to plan, you go, my desires are wrong. You know, maybe I don't need to sell courses. Yeah, people are saying courses don't do well anyways. Yeah, I guess I'll just go back and just do safe one-on-one coaching. And I'll just stick to that, even though I really want more passive income. You know, I tried to practice more personal brand messaging, but my sales started to stagnate. You know what? I should just listen to that coach and hyper niche again and just only talk about one thing, even though I already know I'm going to rebrand in 3 months. I'm looking at you. You can't hide. You start to think, oh, my desires are wrong. I'm wrong. No! That should have never been the fucking question. That should have never even been a question. Your desires were never wrong. Your ideas were never too much. It wasn't ever that you didn't belong. It wasn't ever an identity problem. Things not going well at first, or not reaching your goals yet, your brand not growing yet, not knowing how to craft your multi-passions into a scalable, profitable business and offer model yet, not knowing how to stop the pendulum swing between wanting a more personal brand, wanting to profit from multi-passions, and also make room for your expertise, like figuring out that doesn't mean something's wrong with you. So first thing that we need to understand here, first thing that we need to separate from is that we need to start to build self-awareness and self-discernment if we're ever going to see brand and business growth, period. I don't care if you're niched, if you're multi-passionate, if you're a personal brand creator, influencer, I don't care what you're doing online. This is true in life. If you are constantly questioning yourself, and when things get uncertain, and when these things go wrong, you make it an identity story, you make it a label about yourself when it never had to be, nothing's going to help you. Do you understand how that's no longer serving you? Do you understand that you cannot keep going back there? It's perceived safety, right? Because your brain's job is not to make you happy. Your brain's job is not to help you grow. And maybe your brain has been doing such a good job at protecting you. Like, thank you, body, for always sending me into a panic attack every time I want to go live, or, you know, bringing up all these feelings and stories of trauma and how I failed and those identity wounds. You know, I'm too multi-passionate, I'm too much. Oh, my ADHD disqualifies me from greatness. Whatever you're thinking and feeling, it's maybe bringing up those things, and then you go, oh, that's right, I better be careful. I better protect myself. I better not want too much. I better not look desperate, boasting too much. People will find out. People will find out I am who I am. They're gonna find out I'm a human being. Girl, you better hide. We might find out that you're human. Isn't it just funny? I just have to say, isn't it just funny, like, how much we hide? Like, we're all the same. You and I, we're all the same. Like, we have differences, but we're all squishy creatures with blood running through our veins. We all bleed the same. We eat, we sleep, we all feel, we all have the capacity for the exact same feelings and experiences. And that's important to remember, like, we're all just human. And so it's okay. It's okay if you are going through triggers, or you have some identity wounds, or you're stuck in shame, or you're not quite sure how to make things work yet. It's okay. One thing that I derived and kind of came up with through my own trauma healing journey, I have ADHD, been through therapy for a long time for trauma, and so because of that, I'm a very, very self-aware, resilient person, and I think that's just honestly why I'm such a good coach and mentor, is not because of what I know, it's because of who I am, how I've grown, how I see things. My perception, I think, is invaluable, and has allowed me to take an equally strategic and holistic approach, which actually gets my clients results. But one of the best things that I've learned from my 15 plus years of going to therapy is that when you bring the monsters out of the dark, they're not as scary, right? And so that is something I want you to start practicing more this year, is not just, I can give myself permission, I can be a bad bitch. Like, we can say affirmations all day long, but until we gain the courage, until we gain the courage to practice self-discernment and find this self-permission and safety to start to call out things for what they are and dislodge them from our identity, like, if we can't do that, nothing else is going to change. But once we do that, you are going to become so fucking powerful. Like, this is how resilience is built. This is also identity capacity, how it stretches. When you can just simply start to practice, I'm experiencing, or just taking it a step back, go, I want to not just have a hyper niche brand, I want to share more personal brand content and maybe start making more money from just maybe my content alone. Like, maybe you are a coach or service provider and you don't just want to make money from coaching, maybe you want to make money from content too. But maybe you're struggling to create more like vulnerable or personal brand content. And so what you need to start to do to get your body and brain on board with like expanding your identity capacity like that, is you need to call out clearly what it is you're feeling. Because it's not useful to just say, like, I'm allowed to post more. I am the one. That's good, but let's call out what we're feeling. I don't want you to bypass your feelings, because your feelings are triggered by thoughts, and those are conditioned by your beliefs. And until we dig out that shit, it's gonna run the show subconsciously. Those beliefs are going to trigger those thoughts and those emotions. It's going to start to run the same program in your body. And guess what that does? It's going to release histamine. It's going to release cortisol. You're going to become more inflamed. Your brain is going to become inflamed. Your body's going to shut down. You're going to feel tired. You're going to avoid things. You're going to retreat. You're going to have that chronic fatigue. You're going to struggle to show up, struggle to keep up. You're going to not be able to perceive creative ideas, new solutions. And not even just being able to perceive things or losing momentum, right? Your identity starts to collapse under the weight of your vision. And so your identity never had to collapse. This is a key trait that every entrepreneur has to learn, is that we've got to start removing the obstacles of what we're feeling and experiencing through life and our businesses from our identity. This is such a problem for ADHD, specifically entrepreneurs, and a lot of you who are multi-passionate, visionary. Symptomatically in your business, you're probably experiencing ADHD. You probably have a form of neurodivergence. Most people who are extremely, extremely ambitious, or who are able to balance multi-passions, or who have the drive for multi-passions, to build a content creation brand, like, you've got some extra flavor in your brain. But that's who I work with, because I understand you, because that's my story. I struggled so much with shame. I struggled so much with my identity constantly collapsing over and over again. And it was understandable, right? But I think one of the hardest things for me wasn't just what I was experiencing, is I didn't have context for it. So I grew my business. I started my online coaching business. I had other businesses before this. I started my business coaching business in like very end of 2018, basically 2019. And I grew it to 6 figures and was years in. I made 6 figures in sales and was years in. And then it's a long story, but I had a near-death experience and I fell off a cliff. And then developed an extra layer of PTSD. And then during that psychotherapy session, also discovered, oh, I probably have ADHD. And from that, from 2020 to like 2022, I slowly started to unpack what ADHD was and learned about it. I hired an ADHD coach. Like, I took action after that diagnosis, but I never had context for why I was the way I was. I was raised in a very white Dutch Christian community. Not saying that those things are inherently bad, but yeah, where I came from, like obedience and certain traits, like obedience, discipline, female smallness, obedience to God, not wanting more, a lot of these things, you know, maybe being someone who's maybe more outspoken or being someone who's more aspirational, they were not always welcomed. And so from a lot of the beliefs that I was raised with, meant to be loving, but some of them are harmful, started to create an identity of shame and I'm not enough, right? Because, I mean, how could you not? If you live with ADHD until the age of 25 and you just think you're just a dumb fucking person who can't do anything right, of course you're going to have identity trauma. Like, of course building a business, staying consistent with it is going to be hard. So, like, I would launch an offer and I would help my clients, and then when something would go wrong, you know, if I had to fire a client, or if, you know, I didn't quite reach my launch goals, or I had a slow sales season, like, I internalized that so hard. Or if I struggled to, like, I would, you know, ADHD problem, I kept, like, making all these new offers, but then I would, like, this was always so embarrassing. But I guess it was good I felt shame, because in a way you kind of need that to change, right? You gotta feel it all, but you don't have to make it a story about you. But I would feel this shame. I would launch all these new offers and new ideas and, like, invite people in, and then it would be, like, the day to release the new course, but I wouldn't be able to have it ready. So that's been a chronic problem and a bottleneck that I've had to solve over many years. Like, you know, I had the information in me, but how do I execute it in a good ADHD friendly way, right? But that was a real problem I had to solve in my scaling and development capacity. Never had to be an identity issue, but so many of those things like that would just collapse my identity over and over, and then whether it was behind the scenes or up front in my marketing, I would make it such a big story about me. I'd go, you know, see, look, I'll never get it right. I'm an idiot. I'm all over the place. I'm too much. Nobody wants me here, right? It was like launching and selling in my business started to feel, and especially like building personal brands, started to feel more like I was looking for a spot at a lunch table in high school online, rather than running my business like a CEO. That is some hard shit to work through, right? And so sometimes you have to run away from that identity and start over, and that's okay. Sometimes you can find healing in the current brand and business model that you have. A lot of us do need change, and that's okay. I had to rebrand and, like, basically start my whole business over once I realized, oh, I finally have context for why my identity keeps collapsing when everything feels uncertain. Why I keep internalizing all of this. And I didn't have the language for it, right? God, like, I could talk about that for like 5 hours, I swear. But you see the pattern here? When things are uncertain, we go, I'm uncertain on who I am. We start to question who we are. But I just have to let you know, visionary CEO, I gotta let you know, that doesn't have to be a question about who you are. That never had to be a question. And so what do we do when things are uncertain? 1, we start to dislodge it from our identity first. 2, we start to call out the pattern clearly. Call out the problem. Go, what am I experiencing? Call it out. You don't have to run from it. It's okay. Are you feeling shame? Are you feeling triggered? This is practicing self-responsibility. Because people are sometimes confused on what that looks like. We think, oh, it's good to feel my emotions. Now I'm going to project them. No. So let's take self-responsibility and manage them appropriately, right? And so, but once we call it out for what it is, it loses its power, right? And that's something I've had to learn how to do. I literally just wrote a Substack about that. If you want to know what some of my spirals look like, living with CPTSD and ADHD and probably a little dash OCD in there, that I've been healing for many, many years, but I've become a completely different person. I think because I know possibly the depths of where your brain can go and I've gotten out of it, I think sometimes I'm possibly operating at a higher level, not saying like I'm better than everyone, but I operate at a higher level because I am so aware of what certain beliefs and patterns and lifestyle things, what they lead to, and like I don't fuck with that, right? So I'm aware of my patterns and I know how to work through them, and so I just wrote a Substack about that actually. If you want to go read how I get out of the spiral and actually dislodge those things from identity and take CEO action from that. But how we're going to calibrate your identity to continue to go on when things are uncertain is, like I said, we're going to remove it from who you are. We're going to call it out for what it is. And thirdly, this is a real brand strategy problem as well. This is not just an internal work problem, because maybe your brand has been positioned in a way that was built unconsciously, like out of safety, right? Like maybe it's been safe and maybe it's been serving, like very serving to you for the season you were in. Like, I don't want you to feel shame if you're realizing like you've outgrown your business model, you want more, whatever. Like, you built things, your body and your brain built it because it was trying, like that way, because it was trying to protect you, right? Like it was serving you. So it's okay. And I had to do that for myself. Like, it's so okay that past Kate a couple years ago didn't make all the sales she wanted to make and positioned the brand the way she did, because homegirl was hurting. Homegirl needed to protect her nervous system. So thank you. But I can also recognize that's not serving me anymore. And I've got to call myself higher. I've got to call myself out. And you got to do that, right? Like self-leadership, self-discernment, self-awareness, self-responsibility, all of these key traits are key operating traits of the wealthy visionary, of a CEO, a visionary CEO. And how we can start to calibrate that in our brand identity is to, when things are uncertain, if you are trying to grow on a new platform, you're not sure of your strategy yet. If you're trying to make sales and you're not hitting them yet, you're not quite sure the strategy, innovation, or where you need to double down, what you need to get rid of, whatever. If you're uncertain about your offers, your brand positioning as a multi-passionate, well, first of all, you should hire me. Hi. But second of all, is I want you to think about, trick your brain, get your brain playing on a different level, because what you're in right now is not serving you. And I want you to think about, well, if things could go right, who do I want to be? Like, who do I want to attract in? What would I want to be selling? This is one of my absolute favorite things to ask myself, is if things could go well, what would I do? If I could build a brand like any way I wanted to, who would I be? What would I give myself permission to say, to embody? Like, if I could sell anything in my business, if I could do what I really wanted to do, even though it felt scary and I didn't know how yet, like, what would I do? start asking those kinds of questions, not what do I do? How do I get people to like me? How do I get more followers? Like, yeah, of course, those are real strategic questions we need to be asking. Like, I gotta work on my content strategy, I gotta work on my visibility strategy, right? But you gotta get your brain on board with your body so we can work on these things. And so, ask yourself, like, okay, maybe things are uncertain, maybe they're not even going right at all. But it's safe for me to entertain best case scenario. And then I can find stepping stones of how to meet myself where I'm at, how to meet my audience where they're at. So it doesn't mean, like, for example, if your audience is currently, or you work with people that, like, your audience, like your ideal client, is not going to be someone who invests $20,000 in a coaching offer, no matter how valuable it is. Like, that doesn't mean that you force it on them. Maybe it means you restructure your offer, or maybe it means you need to start to sell to a different client. Didn't have to mean your desire was wrong, but we can start to at least entertain, what do we want? What do we want? And people think like there's such a misconception with manifestation in that way, right? If you just go, oh, I want $1 million, I am a millionaire, boom, it's gonna happen. No, like, we've got to still take action. There's got to be a how. Be open to the how. But we've got to allow ourselves to find the how we want it in. And sometimes it's so easy to be derailed because it's like, if the how doesn't work out right away, or if the identity that's led us so far to this point hasn't quite got us there, again, like, we vote ourselves off the island. You know, it's not going to happen for me. Other people are successful. Other people grow their brands. Girl, I have heard that story. I used to be very self-victimized in my brand. I was just talking about this with another coach on TikTok about, I just realized recently that I just totally self-victimized in, like, my TikTok growth, for example, because I'm someone who is an in-depth person. Like, I have a lot to say. I am very smart and I have a lot of experience. And so sometimes when you're too smart, when you have a lot to say, it can be really, really hard to create short form content. And for years I was posting to TikTok and not growing, but why? Because I was not formatting my content appropriately for that platform. And when I stopped making it a fucking self-victimizing bullshit story about myself, guess what my brain started to do? I went, well, yeah, okay, it's not something that's wrong with me. I'm actually kind of smart. I actually know what I'm talking about, okay. Well, maybe this would be better received on an Instagram Live or a YouTube video or Substack. So maybe I just need to, like, reformat what I'm saying where. So that's why I'm going live here. So I can pop the fuck off. So I can calibrate you. And then there, I'm going to post a little bit different formatted content, but it never had to be an issue with my identity. And guess what? My TikTok started to grow. See how that magic happens? This is, like, that's the process from, like, the mind to the body, to the perception, to the strategy, to the doing, to the receiving. And the better that we can get at that, the calibration, visiting our calibration station. Sorry, that was so white life coach of me. The calibration station. Anyways, once we can collapse that process and do it quicker and quicker, like, that's where things get good. You still gotta put in the hard work to make it all happen. But let's get quicker, get more efficient with our emotional processing. It doesn't mean you have to push down your emotions, but, like, this is the process. This is the process. I'm telling you, I know from experience. It doesn't mean that we breeze by and we go, oh, I'm struggling with something. It just says it just means we know how to handle it. We know when and where to make space for it. We know how to dislodge that. We become more self-aware. We go, oh, not for me. Oh, I'm scrolling on that. That's making me think something. I'm shutting that down. We are self-discerning. We are acting quicker. We are moving quicker. We are collapsing time. we're showing up more, we're becoming more visible, we're maintaining momentum, and we're constantly building by our vision, not in response to scarcity, not in response of fear. I think being a wealthy visionary, being a CEO that can lead a wealthy brand movement, is not just having a vision or being disciplined. It's being able to hold that vision and lead by that vision no matter what. Right? When you can build that vision and keep with it no matter fucking what. It doesn't matter if at first there's crickets as you're posting to TikTok or Instagram. It doesn't matter if that first launch doesn't go well. It doesn't matter if the way you formatted your offers with your multi-passions or your business model isn't scalable yet. Like, you're gonna figure it out. That was never a question. Like, your greatness should have never been up for debate. Your brand identity and the direction you wanted to build, it should have never been something that you had to continue to change. My goodness, if you're just popping on, please make sure you're on the Wealthy Visionary email newsletter list, because I'm going to send you a recap of this with a report with a PDF brief from today with today's calibration. This is a peek into how to stabilize when everything feels uncertain. And if this felt empowering for you, if you know, like, yes, I am on this journey, I am serious as fuck about growing my personal brand, becoming more visible, I want to be building this big vision for my offers, like I am playing all out for the long game, and you want to be scaling and making sales in multiple six figures and beyond mark, then you will absolutely love Visionary House, my coaching and calibration membership. This is for visionary CEOs and creators just like you who are already in the game. You are taking action. You are building your brand. You are selling. But you're tired. You are tired. Not only tired, but you know that you can't continue these patterns of questioning yourself, of constantly branding, constantly pivoting, of continuing to go back to a hyper niche business model or running your business unsustainably. You need two things. You need a more multi-passionate personal brand, ADHD, business friendly approach. All those things. So I'm teaching you my approach, the Wealthy Visionary method. And then you will also need a constant growth space for calibration. So think of it almost like a coaching subscription. So this isn't a membership with just a bunch of random classes or just a bunch of random like call replays. I actually just rebranded the membership, so it's closed. So I am opening it up to an all new calibrated group of highly ambitious visionary CEOs. And you just might be the one. But this is going to be the space for that constant calibration where you lean into. And what's really great is when you join my other programs, like Personal Brand Powerhouse, you're going to get access to Visionary House, where we continue to support you through the frameworks. So I'm really excited for Visionary House to be opening at the end of this month. Make sure you're on the Wealthy Visionary newsletter list so that you can be getting all the details about Visionary House. If you're on the wait list, you can join for just $44 per month for the rest of the year, which is absolutely insane. This is going to be a temporary founder's rate that I'm doing. And then after that, it's only $88 a month. And then there's also a discount if you pay in full. But Visionary House is going to be the best place to be this year if you are a visionary, multi-passionate ADHD CEO, building a personal brand online, selling your offers and scaling. Like, you are in the trenches, you are committed to growth, but you can't keep burning out. You can't keep rebranding. You can't keep pivoting. Like, you know, not only are you doing a disservice to your business, but like you're doing a disservice to your identity and your body. And you need to be strategic, but you also want to be doing things consciously, like building holistically, scaling strategically. If that's your vibe, you're going to love Visionary House. Very, very excited. And yeah, I hope I get to see you in there. Get on the wait list. If you want help right away, you can book a single strategy intensive or my 3-week CEO Voxer coaching reset. Those are available to book right away in my Stan store. Those are fabulous. And if you want to chat with me more about if we're going to be a good fit, tell me more of your current strategic roadblocks and your goals you want to be reaching in your brand and business, DM me. I would love to hear from you, and we can have a chat about booking one of those. Okay, friend, that is what I have for today. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for also allowing yourself to make the space for entertaining the idea. Maybe you aren't wrong. Maybe you need to be smaller. Maybe you need to be less multi-passionate. Maybe you aren't wrong. Maybe you don't want too much. Maybe you weren't supposed to shrink. Maybe you weren't supposed to want less or do less. Maybe you just need to be in a bigger room. Maybe you need a bigger identity. Maybe you need to recalibrate. I don't know. It's like I'm only talking from experience or something. Okay, friend, love you so much. Hope you're doing fabulous. Let's stay calibrated in 2026. I'll see you soon.